the Soma Peripada Mombochikawa Chet saying our Ton the Lonchini. No, the Mandava Tarindilla, Ani Jana Huhan, Tambiki, Janin Digichambiga, Rondishus, Kakang, and Dindichigo Wuni, Chenamba Tomi, Kawa Chising our Ton the Lonchini, Del Pepalani, Hitopani, Trash Deleskai. Tele Shaloniton, Yek, Da to Pitsi Chug, Reza Passonia, Nyon Johnson Rami, Toton Lansu Chamber, T, Yet Chesaton, Hegapanoka, Pernon and Rami, Toton. Chegan to Chetin Royam Nitola, Mogo Cambridge, Lingu, Zeran, Tema Luai, Tendi, then the number Langi Tomigi, Ani, Yapochi Sanchini, Ani, Tiri, Chenon Bigindela, Yoan del Tusse, Chisons, Matu, Tony, Ani, loss on number top Tony, Ani, Zeraton, Cambridge, Yapochi, Jerusi, Chuse Chichitul, Geneva, Yon de Johnson, the Tontela, Momo Lands on Nonjeton, Ani, what interesting.
Oh, Teshle, Hingasamakungamsa. So today, and good afternoon to all. Good afternoon. So anyway, so today we gathered here in front of United Nations and to protest against the Chinese inhuman treatments in Tibet. And I'm going to read out today's program. Like first at 11 o'clock, we have a gathering time in front of the United Nations in Geneva. And we have at 11:30, we'll be having a Tibetan national anthem and a minute of silence to honor our fellow countrywomen and countrymen who have sacrificed their lives and everything for our cause. So as per the program, I request all the members to kind of stand up, and we're going to sing our Tibetan national anthem. Pe Jacob Chimbugelo, Chek Ni.
Si Shipende de Kuchuete,
Topte Sambe no Punapa,
Tenju no Zia Cheriyome, Chileki Rosoke, Doji Kamso Tembe. Cham se kyong nam ku ka wa ya se u pa kong la re pu so de shi nga ta ke pu chong chu ka sum di ke la di ki zo sa pe kya chu se ki pe yu da chu 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 ke Samne yang be ki kushi te pe la jo, fen chong den de jia che ni wu ki, da shi wu na pu do zhou wei si, na chou mu bei yu le ge ru chi.
Tu ce na?
Tijisla Pejaka the Merichi Cheta Ronlu Rongo Luton Lonshipa Lu Tonkin Jachipa the Pamanam Cheta Kama Chigrini Norche Yang and Nonju.
A minute of silence to honor our fellow countrymen and countrywomen who have sacrificed their lives for everything for our cause. Tuchina.
Tigis very mamo go chuzo chanda nobun chuni zego onzuch sunke nongja.
Next we have the president of Tibetan community in Swiss and Liechtenstein, Mr. Samdan Nobu, to deliver a speech.
Studies. 공화 전제 공화 친밀이라 유럽 지도 공화 산다 잠발라 되네兄弟的兄弟妹妹 초박이 초조 군래 군대 넘버 되는 필리핀다 넘버 용라 참지다 근데 가서 개변나에게 모두 튼뒤시외나 진짜 somba 초박 구에 나라마스 때 냠데 계속이 도밀 탑단 렌조기 저도 나게요래 대값소 가서 개변나에게 제제들의 진짜 초백이 손도 대값소 스위스탈리데스탄 프리미마 디존에 코디슈제 아니 뭐그 개변나에 도착되어래 안들이디 개변나에 대해서 내가 찾기도 가시오나 초진에 가지 진짜 순배나라 손도 디난토요 말에 또이 내용다 드리기 돈에 손도 디난토요 말에 재산들인데 냠제 계속 나타난다 가지 진짜 순배나 나에게 초대 십시에서부터 난 심벌에 디네 버로를 둔다직 동바샤제 안디네 테마 십시에시버디 나도 재산들대 가서 개변나에디 냠제 계속 도미 톱단 현조기 초제 테마 십시에서부터 십시와 니를 미체 가서 개변 도 나게 요래셔예 디네 내주 딜이 개체지 가도 쉬어나 긴장디 또이 내ям다 데베톤에 잠리나 개급 다 안잖아 코로나를 인벤에 개미 슝라 따단데 데스 만다라고 차대요래 안개미기 또이 내ям디 토마 용두 코라스키 난단다 안디 돌비게 니들도 카세오만나와다 딘데톤에 교조 첨부나제 다다 다디 잠리나라 또이 내염 강에 첨부디 와라 참여기 다지게 개미 슝기 난단데 들어비게 심주나에다 도나나에 지차되어래 다 딘데기 투술 싸워지다 고갑 싸워지내면도 딘데지 값소 마스테 표베 돌아 안지 개별 제벨 리그 가르나바이네 안지 두바스 캡타도에레 미셔마가 도나나에레 안지게 리그 뒤쪽에 비게 dum제토에 이번에 넘길레데 체버토에게 레버요레 세상 딘데기 토네 들때 가서 개변나에디 내가 침보래 남아서게 돼 딘데기 내가 쓰이제 다데데 내염디 조심백 내가 위임바이네 돼 시다 망고페샤 드링가서 때 토쇼나 도스네 팀이 남아서 이거냐 토쇼 지나요래 디나야 도스테 연도니 마스테 미 곱주 자스네 지금도 좀 두고 도스여이 세상 딘데지래 다데네 디 가서때 드린 좀 나에디 단다디 내염기 내당 유버송사 가지 초제 수도 년도버게디 대 좀난도 안지게 최대한게 돈에 남아서라디 차시 간디에스 대 간디나서 디등어스 안 차시도 야 표제 차시도 난다 개지슈지 가레스 쇼바나 다징게랑 갔을 세라 표바나 시레 미다 미버로 장다샤야죠와 디 단다 인지나 소셜 디스텐싱 송도와 미더니 샤야죠레 제산디 스트리데 하지 개침보시다래 디 갔을 때 초진에 다다디 내염 그 두주지 임에 송사 맞아 남기 봐서 근데 내염 자식 갸다 뭐 요마레스 가서 슈도모로 와 제산 근데 돈에 갔을 때 공고다 근데 이제 봐서 섭산한 거에 개침보래 파수대 단대 세갈 다 겨우나지 딘데진 주로나 단대 야고시다 주샤디 찾아보도도 주로나 쉐이 초진이 뒤에 단대 내염 여버송사 딘데톤에 자진나고 그래 초 셈바지네 년도 벌랑었을 딘데진 나기 슈사요래 제가 딘데진 만나와이나 맞을 제만에 콘송가서 이지라에다 안직 제만에 초진 말아야다 딘데 강에 되기래 제가 가진 것들이야 최시도 배도 고즈 초진 람산나우스 가이스 시외나 단답보도 갔을 때 레그 카르나바이네 즉 차시된 바 인직에 직소된 바 딘데 돈 나게 와서서 초진 나의 락강에 제면도 세상 갔을 때 대대인데 모두대 들이대 갔을 때 미다 미바로 장다 샤나에도 다다 샤나제 딘데 돈에 야보시나바이나 한 제만 갔을 때 강에 되게 말해 제가 디레 아니 아직 딘데 장다다 딘데 다다 마셔봐나 남보석이 되어 산주다 딘데 나세요래 디 한초바다 딘데라 녀바당와다 딘데기 니즈 딘데 조요래 제산 딘데기 맞을 게르기 좀바다 드리대 딱 말해 다지 추수 죽지네 제가 때다 스위스 리더스탄 프리미마 틱소 땅 알아서 한번 찍어로 님도로와 되게 틱소원 때 가서 차례시는 거래 제산 가리 인베네 직 가서 장다샤나에 직 초대한 거 돈이 섭사나 가래초에 가리면에 야보시나로나 가지나 추수 죽지네 체가네 제 용고기업 추수 숨다 제가 봐도 가서 때 딕소경 오거든 배고래 제가 대직에 논주다 대직 교양다고 쇼베나 강에 등어서 때 딕소를 키고래 다징에라 추수 죽지게 다직 내주도 흘러 또 다직 봐서 가면나에도 딕소 때 가지고 다직에 미세 괜찮대요 말에 다다 다다디 참여 개념도 요래 제가 섭사진이 단다디 쇼나시시네 야고 쇼로나 안직 파서 베디 카레 죄레 직 라바 주나에다 두스 같이자한테 tradition에 도스나로 나셔이 디네당에 대 인지나 테스트 tradition 디마지 로조지다 벽에는 망고 쇼되거나 지게 남바적에 내주 자산 기기를 간삼진에 지게 나라스 때 팽에서라 까주 다고들 차도서래 재상대 벽에 나다 지금 3주 쉬기 되는마 인지나 테스트 tradition 디 마스테 안지게 드링 아주 감에 쉬에 디파 초심바다 안지게 잠리 미만 파쉬에 디 인지나 테스트 tradition 디마 차로 쉬쇼지 쉬에 Respected Kongo Chimirinzala, representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration, respected Kongo Champa, Sandola, member of Tibetan Parliament in exile, respected Mr. Jacques Arnold, member of Tibet's Swiss-Tibet Friendship Association and a long-time Tibet activist, respected other honored speakers and my dear fellow sisters and brothers. We have gathered here today in front of the United Nations to express our deepest concern over the critical human rights situation in Tibet. This demonstration happens in the backdrop of the ongoing 43rd and 44th sessions of the United Nations Human Rights Council. The Human Rights Council is an intergovernmental body within the United Nations system made up of 47 states responsible for the promotion and protection of all human rights around the globe. Hence, the Council is the correct address to voice our concerns and to protest against the critical human rights situation in Tibet and your inaction on the issue. This year marks the 25th and forced disappearance of 11th Panchen Lama Gendu Chögyal Nyima. He was kidnapped in 1995 when he was only 6 alone with his family. As of now, no independent observer has seen Gendu Chögyal Nyima, or for that matter, his family, since the enforced disappearance in 1995. The human rights situation in Tibet can be summarized by the 154 self-immolations in Tibet, who sacrificed their lives for freedom in Tibet and the return of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to Tibet. I will not go into details of the human rights situation in Tibet. You will hear them in our today's press release and appeal letter, which will be read out later here today. The world's focus is presently on China, on the coronavirus COVID-19, which has its origin in China. As per Johns Hopkins University's Coronavirus Resource Center, the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the world now reaches almost 8.4 million and around 4,055,000 deaths. These figures will keep on growing day by day, and the world will suffer tremendously under this virus. For our fellow brothers and sisters in Tibet, this coronavirus pandemic is a double challenge and risk. On one hand, they have to undergo all the risk and fear of contracting this deadly disease, which we do as well. On top of this, China's government intensifies the lockdown and heavy-handed propaganda in Tibet. Tibetans are asked to sacrifice everything for the party in the name of maintaining social stability, which is merely an excuse in the name of fight against coronavirus. Tibetan writer and blogger Tsring Yösela concludes the ongoing double lockdown on Tibetans in Tibet as, quote, "Preventing speech is more important than preventing the plague," unquote. As we can slowly feel the freedom of reopening, the lockdown in Tibet will unfortunately continue to stay. China is presently in a total mess. The situations in Hong Kong, Taiwan, Inner Mongolia, East Turkestan, on the frontiers with India, last but not least, the COVID-19 pandemic and the Tibet issue. Despite all these, we see a light at the end of this tunnel for China. That light is the ease with which Tibet issue can be resolved. Under the spiritual guidance of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, we Tibetans are genuinely committed to non-violence and resolving the Tibet issue through human understanding, respect, and dialogue. We therefore urge the People's Republic of China to genuinely resume dialogue with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, or for that matter with his representatives, to resolve the Tibet issue. We request the United Nations High Commission and the international community to urgently engage with China and facilitate us in this peaceful endeavor. Resolving the Tibet issue will set an unprecedented example in human history for resolving conflicts in a human way, that is, in a peaceful, non-violent, and through dialogue and mutual respect. And this can be applied to other conflict areas in China and other parts of the world. China can gain respect and trust of the world community through this light. Last but not least, may His Holiness the great 14th Dalai Lama live long. May his teachings of compassion and love bless this world. Tuchenasama.
初做中等那不了，跟着切下音，俺的第几是娘的江村庄米拖动山出去是这样子，除了不就去对小的在交流弄去。
In the next, I would like to invite Ms. Kamachugila, and she will read out the Memorandum of Appeal to the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights.
To Ms. Michelle Bachelet, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Geneva. Your Excellency, we, the Tibetan community from Switzerland and Liechtenstein, are writing to request you to raise the issue of gross human rights violations in Tibet during the UN HRC sessions and your statements. The government of People's Republic of China has been consistently violating every facet of the basic human rights of Tibetans with impunity since the illegal occupation of Tibet by China in 1959. The suppression of Tibetans by the Chinese government has forced 154 Tibetans to self-immolate in Tibet since 2009. as a mark of peaceful protest against the atrocities perpetuated by China on Tibetans. Had the UN and the member states paid heed to the rampant human rights violations in Tibet and checked China timely, the world would not be suffering with this pandemic today. Because China was allowed to violate human rights with impunity, China saw it fit to suppress the doctors who alerted the Wuhan-originated COVID-19 global pandemic, and now the world is reeling under unprecedented turmoil and catastrophic sufferings. 25 years of enforced disappearance of 11th Panchen Lama, Gyaltsen Chökyi Nyima. This year marks the 25th year of enforced disappearance of Tibet's 11th Panchen Lama, Gyaltsen Chökyi Nyima, and his entire family members. In China, Gyaltsen Chökyi Nyima was born on 25th April 1989. On 17th May 1995, he and his entire family were kidnapped by the Chinese authorities. Since then, China has refused to divulge any sufficient and satisfactory information about the whereabouts. Instead, in his place, the atheist Chinese government has installed its own candidate, a son of Communist Party members, as a political tool to sabotage Tibetan people and Tibetan culture. The case of Panchen Lama, Gyaltsen Chökyi Nyima's enforced disappearance is pending at the UN Special Procedure Working Group on enforced or voluntary disappearance, as well as the Committee on the Rights of the Child since 1995. It continues to be one of the longest drawn cases of enforced disappearance in the world. Violation of rights of freedom of religion. More than 6,000 monasteries were destroyed in 1950s and 1960s in Tibet. However, the destruction of monasteries continues to this day. The recent demolitions of Larungar and Yajinkar, started in 2016 by the Chinese authorities, led to forceful evictions of more than 10,000 monks and nuns. These monks and nuns were put in internment camps for political re-education, where they are subjected to torture and harsh punishments, leading to suicide by nuns. China is also restricting the Tibetans from taking part in religious activities. It has banned Tibetan school children and elders from participating in religious activities, even during the current holy month of Sagatawa. Tibetans are also restricted from joining monasteries and nunneries to become monks and nuns. The government of China is using a centuries-old Tibetan Buddhist system of reincarnation as a political tool to control the Tibetans. Even though it calls itself an atheist government, China has mandated the reincarnated lamas to register themselves for government-issued certificates to learn and practice Tibetan Buddhism. This so-called atheist communist government appears to be not so atheist when it comes to the sacred practice of reincarnation. The European Parliamentarian Group on Human Rights and Intergroup on Freedom of Religion has ranked China as one of the worst violators of religious freedom in the world in 2018. The US Commission on International Religious Freedom, in its 2020 report, has once again advised the US government to redesignate China as country of particular concern for engaging in systematic, ongoing, and egregious religious freedom violations. Violation of freedom of expression and opinion. There is absolutely no freedom of expression in Tibet. Tibetans inside Tibet are subjected to high-tech surveillance and censorship. They do not have access to free information and no platform to develop and discuss ideas. Tibetans cannot freely express their thoughts and opinions, and those who try to do are punished and persecuted. Well-known language rights activist Tashi Wangchula was arrested and sentenced to 5 years in prison for inciting separatism only because he spoke to the New York Times about his intention to march to Beijing to ask for the rights to preserve the Tibetan language in schools. His appeals against the sentencing were dismissed and is even denied of his rights to meet his lawyers to discuss his case. Sonam Palten, a monk from Kipti Monastery, was arrested in Ngaba County in September 2019 for posting critical views on China's policy on Tibetan language on WeChat, a social messaging app. Wangchuk from Shigatse Prefecture was detained in March 2019 for sharing Tibetan school books on WeChat. Tsering Dorji, resident of Pelep village in Tashizom Township, was detained on 20th February 2019 for having a mere phone conversation with his younger brother, who is in exile, about the importance of Tibetan language. He was subjected to torture in detention. No right to education in mother tongue language Tibetan. Tibetans, though considered ethnic minorities by China, do not have any language rights, though on the face of it, China is practicing bilingual policy. Tibetan language has been replaced by Mandarin as a medium of instruction in Tibetan schools. Monasteries, which were secondary source of learning Tibetan, have been banned from teaching the Tibetan language during vacations to school children. Tibetan students graduating with specialization in Tibetan language are derived of any job prospects. The language rights advocates like Tashi Wangchuk, Sonam Palten, Tsering Dorji are all being persecuted by China. These violations have been extensively reported by Human Rights Watch in their report titled Tibetan Children Denied Mother Tongue Classes. No freedom of movement or assembly. Tibetans do not have the right to move freely, be it within Tibet or across China or abroad. They have to register and seek permission to travel, and for traveling abroad, their applications for passports are routinely rejected. They also do not have the right to assemble. Even forming a small groups to air grievances against the land grabs or destruction of environment leads to framing of criminal charges against the members and are often subjected to severe punishment. Racial discrimination against Tibetans. Tibetans are discriminated against in every aspect of life, be it education, healthcare, employment, or even issuance of passports. In fact, even the UN Committee on Elimination of Racial Discrimination has raised concerns about the discriminative practices against Tibetans and the issuance of passports to Tibetans. Crackdown on human rights defenders. China uses vague terminologies and absurd interpretation of laws to frame Tibetan human rights defenders with criminal charges. The crackdown on land rights advocates, environmental activists, language rights advocates have raised serious questions on the abuse of laws. For example, Tashi Wangchuk was recently sentenced to 5 years in prison for inciting separatism after he spoke to the New York Times about the Tibetan language education, causing an international outcry about China's intensified crackdown on human rights defenders. The land rights advocate and crusader of anti-corruption, Anya Sengta, was imprisoned and sentenced to 7 years in December 2019 for defending the rights of local nomads. No access to free, fair, and independent judicial process. Tibetans are often subjected to unfair trial with no possibility of defending themselves. Firstly, all the court documents are in Chinese language and not in Tibetan language. This was also highlighted by the Committee on Elimination of Racial Discrimination in its observations published in 2018. Secondly, Tibetans are not given a copy of the court documents, nor are they allowed to render any evidence in their defense. They do not even have the access to lawyers to defend against the charges laid against them. Often the so-called trials are merely a facade. Even the family members and relatives of the imprisoned Tibetans get to know about it after they have already been tried and sentenced. Lodro Gyatso, also known as Sokar Lodro, was arrested for staging a peaceful protest in front of the Potala Palace in Lhasa in January 2018. His wife, Gagila, was arrested for shooting a video clip of him before going to the protest. Lodro Gyatso was sentenced to 18 years and his wife Gaki was sentenced to 2 years in prison after secret trials which the family members got to know only in November 2018. In view of the above-mentioned human rights violations carried out by the government of People's Republic of China, we urge Your Excellency to raise the issues of gross human rights violations in Tibet during the UNHRC sessions and statements. We also appeal Your Excellency to call upon the government of China to, number 1, release Tibet's 11th Panchen Lama, Gyaltsen Chökyi Nyima, his entire family, Chade Rinpoche, and all Tibetan political prisoners. Second, stop meddling in the religious practices of the Tibetans under its regime. Third, allow an independent fact-finding mission to assess the human rights violations perpetuated against Tibetans in Tibet and other regions under China. Number 4, guarantee fair trials and independent judiciary and access to legal counsel to all Tibetans. And the last but not the least, fulfill its obligations accepted by it to protect and guarantee the basic human rights of Tibetans, including their language rights, religious freedom, freedom of speech and expression, movement and assembly in Tibet. Sincerely, signed by Nobusamda President, Kunso Chochamba Vice President, Tibetan Community in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Thank you very much.
Kama chichula tujiche, tiniti jis kama ngala Cambodia rendu. Tende inde teleta tiri number language ngweni kiche de Cambodia andel pere tende inde number language chomi gi hatha photo no chini shatong ngaro chok ngweni he na ta pedang chet shulul daya chet ki inji tor germe kel ki chambo rend shulul tes koda tek de seate ki chambo chok yorete ta teso shulug peg kanga te koda tre chini shulug matzo pe musup roba shegyorte ngaro to peg nolu pepa tso ngo matsuchini choma ni khu de de tene baso ta tari pepa tso ya ngone launchini Cambodia to te pedang chet goka tari yepa te ta hi magu par chomin chen gere tene tik thul thuk chegi tola ani Cambodia go tita to noro se o hyai tuche.
In the next, we have now a slogan shouting, and I request anyone from the member to lead the slogan.
Let the Dalai Lama! Let the Dalai Lama! Coronavirus made in China! Coronavirus made in China! Coronavirus made in China! Coronavirus made in China! Make China accountable! Make China accountable! Make China accountable! Coronavirus made in China! Coronavirus made in China! Coronavirus made in China! United Nations! United Nations! United Nations! Shame on Chinese government! Shame on Chinese government! Stop the killing! Stop the killing! China accountable! Make China accountable! Shame on Chinese government! Shame on Chinese government! United Nations! United Nations! Long live! Long live! Let the Dalai Lama! Let the Dalai Lama! Let the Dalai Lama! Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Xi Jinping. Shame on Xi Jinping. Shame on Xi Jinping. No religious freedom. No religious freedom. No human right. No human right. No human right. Shame on Chinese government. Coronavirus. 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 We want justice. We want justice. We want justice. We want justice. United Nations. United Nations. No more sleeping. No more sleeping. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese government. Pegalo. Pegalo. Garbage kuzi shavete basho. Garbage kuzi shavete basho. Garbage kuzi shavete basho. Long live. Long live. Let the Dalai Lama. Coronavirus. 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 Make China accountable. Make China accountable. Make China accountable. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese government. China lied. China lied. People's die. China lied. China lies. China lies. China lies. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese government. United Nations. United Nations. United Nations. United Nations. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese. Coronavirus. Make China accountable. Make China accountable. China lies. China lies. China lies. China lies. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese government. Coronavirus. 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 Make China accountable. Make China accountable. Make China accountable. China lies. China lies. China lies. China lies. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese government. Let the Dalai Lama. Let the Dalai Lama. United Nations. United Nations. No more sleeping. No more sleeping. We want justice. We want justice. We want justice. Long live. Long live. Let the Dalai Lama. Let the Dalai Lama. Coronavirus. 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 Make China accountable. Make China accountable. China lies. China lies. China lies. Shame on Chinese government. Shame on Chinese government. Free Panchen Lama. Free Panchen Lama. Free all the political prisoners. Free all the political prisoners. Free all the political prisoners. Shame on Chinese government. United Nations. Stop killing. Stop killing. Stop killing. COVID-19. Made in China. COVID-19. COVID-19. Coronavirus. 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 Stop killing. Stop killing. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Stop torture. Stop torture. Stop torture. Free release. Sorry. Stop torture. Release, release. Release, release. Release, release. Release, release. Release, release. Paki Dapo. Paki Dapo. Simshu Bacha. Baby so. Simshu Bacha. Simshu Bacha. Simshu Bacha. Langsha, langsha. Baby so. Langsha, langsha. Langsha, langsha. Simshu Bacha. Paki Dapo. Stop torture. Stop torture. Stop torture. United Nations. United Nations. United Nations. United Nations. Stop killing. Stop killing. Stop killing. COVID-19. 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 Coronavirus. 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 Stop torture. Stop torture. Human killer. Human killer. Boycott China. Boycott made in 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 China. Coronavirus. 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 Boycott China. Boycott made in China. Make China accountable. Make China accountable. Human killer.